Hello dear students, today in this video we are going to discuss lesson number 2, that is microorganism, friends and foe. So in this lesson we are going to discuss the topic, that is what do we mean by microbes, secondly the history of microbiology, and number third, types of microorganism or the types of microbes. So the first topic, that is what are called microbes. So microbe means very small or tiny. Microorganisms are the organisms which are single cell and are very tiny and small, which cannot be seen with our naked eye. Right? So the microorganisms are found everywhere. They are present in the air, the water, the soil, the food that we eat. Even in our hands right now, I may be having thousands or numbers of microorganisms on my hand or on this pen, etc. Right? So they are found everywhere. So we can observe, though we cannot see microorganisms with our naked eye, but they can easily be observed. So let us discuss an activity by which we can observe a microorganism. Right? Let us take or collect some pieces of vegetable, or let us take some different types of fruits and let us seal it in a plastic bag and seal with a zip. After keeping it for a few days, you will see that the vegetable maybe or the fruit that you have kept inside the plastic is starting to smell, right? It's starting to get decomposed, or it's starting to become spoiled or become rotten and started to produce foul or a bad smell. So it clearly indicates the presence of microbes in the air, or that is present inside the plastic or the bag that you have kept, where you have kept the fruit. Right? So with this we can understand and observe that the microbes have started to take action again on those food items. That's why it is starting to spoil, or that's why the bad smell is coming out, and also the color and the taste of the food item also will change. So that is why we used to keep our food items inside the fridge, because in a freezing condition or in a cold condition, the microorganism will not be able to grow on it. Right? So these are some methods of food preservation which we will discuss in our later part of the lesson. But this is the activity by which we can understand or which we can see that the microorganisms are present in the air and which have grown on the fruit or the food items, which is why it has started to get decomposed and also started to get rotten. Okay, so in this way we can observe microorganisms. Even some food items, suppose some leftovers, if they are kept just on the table, the next morning you may see maybe some curry, it's no more eatable, right? A bad smell comes, and also the appearance of blue or whitish substance starts to grow on the surface, so which clearly indicates that it's no more consumable or it's no more good to eat. So these are the indication of the growth of microbes on the food items. So with this we can understand that microorganisms are present everywhere. They are very tiny and they are very small, which we cannot see with our naked eye. Now let us discuss about the history of microbiology. So microbiology is the branch of science or the study of microorganism is known as microbiology. So the father of microbiology was Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So actually he was a businessman and he had his own shop of fabrics. So in order to produce better quality of fabric, he used to study with different types of lenses to study the fabric in detail to produce the better ones. So during this process he was the first person to discover the presence of microbes with the help of his lens, and he is the person who invented microscope. Right? So after the invention of microscope, then it became easier for the scientists or easier for the biologists to study more about microorganisms. As microorganisms cannot be seen with our naked eye, So definitely we need the instrument, that is the microscope, for the study of microorganism. So this study of microorganism is known as microbiology, and the person studying on these microbes are called microbiologists. So here is the microscope by which we can observe and which we can see a very tiny object by mounting our specimen on this slide. So definitely this microscope is completely different from the one which was invented by Anton van Leeuwenhoek. So this is the present day school laboratory microscope. This microscope is called a compound microscope because it is it has the combination of more than one lens, or more than two or more lenses are combined in order to visualize the specimen. So such type of microscope is known as compound microscope. This microscope have different parts of distinct function. First, this is the eyepiece. Eyepiece has got one lens of 10x resolution. 10x resolution means it can magnify the size of the image up to 10 times its actual size. So this microscope has got the resolution of 10x. This is the eyepiece. Apart from that, it has two adjustments by which we can adjust our specimen. This is the coarse adjustment, up and down, and this one is the fine adjustment. So coarse and fine adjustment by which we adjust our lens and we see our specimen. Then down here, this can be rotated and can be adjusted. So this is known as the objective lens. So this lens is very important, as this lens is the most near to our specimen, which is clipped here at the base. So this is the base and this is the clip by which we can fix our slide so that it does not move, and then we can rotate and we can take our, we can use the lens as per our need. So these are known as the objective lens. Of course, it helps in further magnification of the specimen. And then down we have the mirror. So this mirror also play a very important role, as it reflects the light on the specimen, without which it will not be visualized. So this plays a very important role. The very first step is to adjust this mirror, and we have to see through it whether the light is visible or not. If the light is focused on the specimen, then it's okay. Then we will come to our coarse and fine adjustment, and this is the arm and this is the base. Okay, so this is the microscope by which we can study a very minute specimen, or a very minute object, may it be the microorganism or any cells and tissue extracted from a plant specimen or an animal specimen. So we can fix this one which I am holding right now is a permanent slide of squamous epithelial tissue. So epithelial tissue present in an animal cell. So if we see it under the microscope, we can see the cells of this tissue. Likewise, we can also make a temporary mount of any extract from any plant or animal species. So this is the temporary slide, and on the slide we mount our specimen and then we cover it with our cover slip, right? And then we see it under the microscope. So hopefully you will get chance to see it actually how temporary slide preparation is done, or how we can mount the specimen that we want to observe under the microscope. Now let us move to our next topic, that is the types of microbes. So microorganisms are classified into 5 types. They are: number 1, bacteria; number 2, virus; number 3, protozoa; number 4, algae; and number 5, fungi. So these are the 5 major classes or groups of microorganisms. So we will discuss them one by one. The first one is the bacteria. So bacteria are the unicellular microbes having a prokaryotic type of cell. They have a cell wall which is protective in nature. There are bacteria of different strains. Some of them are useful to us, whereas some are very harmful as they are the pathogens and they can cause disease to us. So let us give some example of bacteria. Some example like bacteria help in the formation of curd or making of curd, that is lactobacillus. So lactobacillus is a useful bacteria that help in turning the milk into curd. Next example, that is Clostridium. So this bacteria causes food poisoning. If they grow on our food, then it leads to food poisoning if we consume the food infected with this bacteria. So the bacteria are the most ancient group of microorganisms which you can see, and these bacteria are known to found in extreme type of environment also. Those are known as the archaebacteria, or another group of bacteria which can withstand extreme type of condition, like they are also present in hot spring or extremely saline water, right? So this is about the bacteria. Now next group is the virus. So viruses are another microorganism. In fact, the viruses are the intermediate organism, you can say. Intermediate in the sense they are neither living nor dead, but we are considering virus to be one of the microorganisms here, as once a virus infects any living body, whether it's a bacteria itself, then it becomes alive or it behaves like a living system. So viruses are even more smaller than bacteria. So viruses do not have their own mechanism, or they do not have their own metabolic system. They just take up the host machinery or the host metabolic system in order to survive. So viruses only have the protein coat and a genetic material. Genetic material means the viral genome. The genetic material can be the RNA or it can be the DNA. So they only have these two structural components, or only these two components they have. There is a protein code, a viral protein code, and a viral genome. So viral genome can either be DNA or the RNA, by which they infect to a living cell. So there are viruses that causes many disease to us. Like for example, the pandemic is all due to the virus only, that is the coronavirus causing COVID-19. But other than that, there are different viruses which are pathogenic in nature. They cause disease to humans, not only humans but also to plants, animals, and even the microorganisms. For example, viruses that infects to a bacteria are known as bacteriophages. So let us write some example of virus causing disease. For example, rhinovirus causing cough and cold in humans. So this is one example. Then our next group is the protozoa. So protozoans are microorganism which has an eukaryotic type of cell. Means both bacteria as well as protozoa are unicellular organisms. Means they are microorganisms having only single cell. But there is a difference. Bacteria, the type of cell in bacteria is different than the type of cell that is in the protozoans. So there are pathogenic protozoans also, like the Plasmodium vivax. So let me write the example of protozoa here. Example, Plasmodium. So this Plasmodium causes malaria, right? This Plasmodium causes malaria and it is carried by a vector, that is the mosquito. So mosquito is only the means of transport of the microorganism from one body to the other. So actual causative agent for malaria is the Plasmodium, which is a protozoa. So they are also one type of microorganism, and there are protozoans that are pathogenic in nature. There are other protozoans. Other protozoa are also found, like the amoeba, paramecium, etc. So they are all unicellular eukaryotic microorganisms. Then next is algae. So these algae are photosynthetic in nature. Let me write this side. They are photosynthetic. photosynthetic. They are photosynthetic due to the presence of chlorophyll. So the algae, they contain the pigment, that is chlorophyll, that can trap the sun's energy. So this algae are, you can say, unicellular plant, or they are single cell photosynthetic organism, okay, that can photosynthesize. So they normally they grow in moist area, or they grow in water, as well as moist and damp places, right? So they are the unicellular photosynthetic microorganism. They are, you can say, unicellular plant. For example, Spirogyra. So Spirogyra is an example of unicellular algae. So next category we have is the fungi. These fungi are, for example, the molds. Molds or also yeast. So the yeast and molds are the example of fungi. But there are groups of fungi that can be macromolecule also. They can be multicellular also. But there are microorganisms, or there are fungi who are microscopic in nature. For example, the fungi Penicillium notatum. Penicillium notatum, you know, penicillin is an antibiotic that can kill the bacteria. So that Penicillium notatum is a microscopic fungi, which is white in color. So this fungi, microscopic fungi, are non-photosynthetic. That is the difference. Okay. So that is the difference with the algae. Algae, since they are unicellular photosynthetic microorganism, whereas fungi are, means there are many groups of fungi, out of which the unicellular fungi are non-photosynthetic. In fact, the entire group of fungi are non-photosynthetic because they do not have chlorophyll. The chlorophyll, which is the characteristic of an algae, is absent in fungi. So fungi are non-photosynthetic organism which cannot photosynthesize. They are the saprotrophs, and some of the fungi can cause disease such as acne, skin related diseases or acne, and some are also helpful in food industries or in brewing industries, like for example the yeast. So yeast help in brewing alcohol or in making beer or beverages. So they are of great help in brewing industries. That's why they are also known as the brewer's yeast or the baker's yeast. Even in bakery, the yeast is used for making of bread or even to bake a cake, etc. So these yeast are microscopic in nature. And apart from yeast, there are some other groups of fungi, as I mentioned. Penicillium. Penicillium notatum is the scientific name. Notatum. So Penicillium notatum is, this Penicillium notatum, out of Penicillium notatum, our penicillin antibiotic is obtained. The first antibiotic that was discovered. Okay. So that is an example of fungi or a microscopic fungi. So with this, we have discussed 5 major classes or groups of the microorganism, including bacteria, virus, protozoa, algae, and fungi. So as I mentioned, there are differences. So why they are classified separately and what is the basis? First, the bacteria, which is unicellular and prokaryotic in nature, means their cell types are more primitive. They are the most ancient one, means they are the most primitive type of microorganism that is present on Earth. Some of them even can withstand extreme conditions like heat, salinity, etc. And viruses are intermediate microorganisms, since they are non-living or they are non-organism when they are in an abiotic condition like water or in air or soil. When they are present, they are just like any other non-living substances. But once they infect to a living body, whether plant, animal, or even the microorganism, it takes over the host machinery and becomes alive, or it behaves like a living system. So I have taken the example of rhinovirus that causes common cold, and then next we have the protozoa. Protozoa are microorganism having advanced type of cell. So some of the protozoans are pathogenic in nature that cause disease to humans, like for example the plasmodium causing malaria in human. Then next I will discuss about algae and fungi. So algae are unicellular photosynthetic microorganism, or you can say unicellular plant, single cell plant that can photosynthesize due to the presence of chlorophyll. Example, Spirogyra. There are other unicellular algae as well apart from Spirogyra. I have taken the example of Spirogyra here. Then next is the fungi. The fungi are microscopic as well as macroscopic. There are macroscopic fungi like those of mushrooms. Mushrooms also falls under the category of fungi. But microscopic fungi, I have taken the example here, that is the yeast or the molds, bread molds. You may have seen the bread, if it is kept for longer time outside the fridge, you will see there's some whitish substance or some brown or little greenish or whitish kind of substance grow on the surface. So that is nothing but the mold, or those molds are nothing but the fungi. Okay, so that is the fungi. So unicellular fungi, that is example yeast. Okay, so with this we end our today's discussion on different topic, that is what are called microbes. We have also discussed about the history of microbiology, what we mean by microbiology and who are called microbiologists, and we have also discussed about the different parts of a compound microscope of a school laboratory microscope, and then we have discussed the different types of microorganisms that are classified based on different characteristics with their example. So I hope you learn it, and at the end of the class, so there is an assignment for you that you will draw the diagram of microscope and you will label its different parts and you will write down its function. That is number one. Then secondly, you will write down the different classes of microorganisms with their example. Okay, so that's it for today's class. I hope you learn it. So thank you so much for your patience hearing, and thank you so much that you have continued watching the video till the end. So with this, I conclude here and hope to see you in my next video lesson. Thank you and bye-bye.